It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Thursday's Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast. On this, the 8th day of March, 2024, coming to you from Bedford County, Virginia, a forest area. On what's going to be a pretty nice day again today. It was very nice yesterday. A little rain, but basically a nice day. I got a couple really neat things to share with you, but I'll go over the headlines first on what we're going to get to before the show's over with today. The lead story today, Carnival cracks down on mobility scooters. Also today, cruises for digital nomads. Royal Caribbean's last-minute deals. Marella Cruises cancels the Red Sea. Cruise line changes smoking policy. Flagship arrives in the Bahamas. A new terminal for Seward, Alaska, and lots more live here at 11 o'clock today. Today, folks, is National Peanut Clusters Day. I mean, what can be wrong about that? Peanuts, I love. Chocolate, I love. Mix the two together. Okay, I can go for that. Don't know if I can find them right offhand, but if I can find some peanut clusters, I'll certainly promote that today and share that with you. If you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. All the big guys, Pandora, Stitcher, Amazon Music, it doesn't matter. iHeartRadio. Just search for travel and cruise industry news, and up pops the fat travel guy. Okay. Two really neat things have happened to me in the last 12 hours. And one just happened to me within the last hour. It's been, I want to say, it's been about 6 weeks or so since I was at the periodontist. And when I was leaving the periodontist, one of the girls from the front desk says, "Here, let me run and help you with the door." So she comes up behind the desk and across the lobby and holds the door open for me. And I said, you know, I should have said something to Dr. Anderson, but it would be really nice if you guys would be, closer to ADA compliance on your door. She said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, the ADA does not require automatic doors or touch plate doors, but it's highly recommended. Let me show you why." So I showed her what I have to do to get in and out of doors like in that building, which is, you get it started open with your hand, you push it open with your foot, you start the chair going through the door till your foot slides off, and you hope you get the chair all the way through before the door slams you and knocks you out of the chair. I go through this a couple times every day I'm out someplace. And she says, "Oh, well, that's certainly interesting." And so I went on. That's my periodontist. I'm just telling him what would be nice. I had to call him this morning on some other business. Had to make a payment. Okay, well, yeah, I had to call him, make a payment. Time to do that. She says, "Oh, Mr. Falls, I'm glad you called." She said, "I just wanted you to know we took your advice. We have now installed touch plate for the doors coming in and out of the building." And I said, "Sweet. And that's just awesome." So my hat stuff, tip the hat to Periodontal Health Associates. They're over on Leesburg Road here in Lynchburg, and Dr. Anderson and all the girls. And that's just awesome. It's wonderful when somebody does something nice for the disabled community, and that's just outstanding. So good for them. All right. So before I get to the next thing, let's talk about Will Power Chairs. How about that? So Will Power Chairs is running the big sale for the month. And the machine ate my picture of me on the chair. Oh, well. So I won't use that. I'll just talk. All right. So for the entire month of March, it's called the Will Spring Celebration. For the entire month, if you purchase a Model F, now that's the smaller one that I use. That's also the one that folds up, which has some benefits to it, but not if you're a big fat guy like me. Or if you purchase a Model C2, which is like the one I use, you will receive $250 to use toward accessories. Offers valid till the 31st of March. Now, taking it a step further, when you call these people, or if you order online for either a Model F or a Model C2, and you use code CHILLIE, CHILLIE, just tell them code CHILLIE, not only will you get a discount on the chair, you'll also get the $250 for accessories. Can't beat that. That's Will Power Chairs. Spring selection. And of course, they own Scooter. So I do appreciate folks when you go on a cruise and you have to rent a scooter, you can tell them code CHILLIE on that too. And I got a check for $39 today, as a matter of fact, from some scooter round rentals. All right. The other thing that happened good to me, and this actually happened last night, I mentioned yesterday that Elizabeth on location was in the air. She was on her way back home to Cozumel. Well, she's not in Cozumel right now. She's in Playa del Carmen, which is right across. It's a ferry ride away from Cozumel. But she's back home. I mean, that's home for Elizabeth. Now, she's going to be on the show next week. But that was Elizabeth having a little vino. I'm not sure where that was. That was maybe down in Argentina. This was down in Antarctica. I'm just teasing you a little. I got a whole bunch of pictures we're going to use when she's on the show next week. That's a whale. And if you look real closely, you see the whale's tail right behind it. I think that might be a baby whale with its mother that's diving. Good sized icebergs floating all around. And I just love this picture. That's Hard Rock Cafe in Ushuaia, Argentina. No. Yeah. No. Yeah, Argentina. That's Elizabeth. And then, of course, when she got back home, the No Name Bar, they're ready for Elizabeth. Welcome home. Well, so the good news was Elizabeth is back home, and I got to spend an hour on the phone with her last night. And no matter how bad my day might have been yesterday, that made it a good day. So, I mean, everybody knows my feelings about Elizabeth. I love her to death. Glad she's home. See how long she stays this time. She'll be back on a ship in the not too distant future, I'm quite sure. Anyway, she'll be on one day next week. She had possibility that she was going to be tied up on a Zoom call this morning. So I don't know if she's going to be in the chat room or not. But anyway, she'll be in the chat room on some days for the show. Of course, she'll also be out working on her tan. She was complaining last night about how pale she's gotten. Yeah, right. But anyway, she'll be out working on a tan post haste. All right, Cindy and the girls were in Mazatlan, and they were riding a little tender in from the Bliss. And of course, that's Sin. And that's Hosa. And the girls all together. They did a bunch of games, and that's all the swag that they won, which is pretty cool. And then the 80s party was last night. So they went to the 80s party. Can you imagine? I've never done a cruise with Cindy and the girls. I've done a quick cruise with Cindy and the hubby, and that was awesome. I could just imagine Cindy and the girls. That has to be a gas. But anyway, glad the girls get to do that on a fairly regular basis. All right, so that's going to bring us up to the lead story today, folks. One other thing I'll tell you. This is, I guess, the third thing I got to tell you that was good. So yesterday afternoon, I did go out and run my errands. I did not get a haircut for this reason. I did not take the time to load up the chair because I wasn't thinking about having to walk any distance. It didn't click in that I needed to go get a haircut. So I ran my other errands because I was from the car. All right, so I don't need the chair. So I ride the chair out to the car. I leave the chair next to the car. I don't take the time to load it up and strap it down and yada, yada, yada. You got to do that multiple times. So when I realized that I should go get a haircut, I was starting to have some difficulty with the breathing. I've had a little breathing problem here recently. And I said, no, I'll skip the haircut today. Maybe I'll go out and do that tomorrow. And I came on back to the house and I said, okay, I need a flyer that I can create for the upcoming Alaska cruise. So I pull up one of the programs here on the computer, and I couldn't get it so I could use it. I could create something. Wasn't really that good, but I'm not very good at that stuff. But then I couldn't use it the way I wanted to use it. So I went to another program and did the same thing. And the same thing happened. I kept it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, which is probably from my lack of experience and stupidity. So I happened to be on the phone with Nanook of the North John up in Minnesota, who's probably got 14 feet of snow and can't go out any place. So I talked to John, and I was, excuse my French, folks, I was bitching. Now I was going, you know how I get. I was complaining that I couldn't make the stupid computer do it. And he said, well, what are you trying to do? So I told him. He said, well, send me the information. So I put it on, message the piece here and a piece there and a piece there, put all the little bits and pieces together. And 5 minutes later, that's what he comes back at me with. Of course, I immediately completely took him off all my social media accounts, all my emails. It was awful. 5 minutes he did it. And I screwed around for 4 hours and could get nothing done. Serious. I appreciate. Oh my God. Do I appreciate what John did for me yesterday with doing that. It's absolutely beautiful. So you'll be seeing that a lot for a while. That's everything I want to say. Yeah. So we're working diligently on the Alaska cruise on August the 14th. So, and if you want to do it, man, call me, text me, whatever, before we start running out of cabins. With all the Alaska stuff I've been doing, I'm running into more and more of the ships. Now that's specifically on 2 Holland America ships for the Alaska residences that I've been working on quite a bit for Nate. I'm starting to run out of ships selling out. So, man, if you're interested in going on this cruise while we got the cabins, at least put a deposit down, to hold it. And even if you change your mind, but still, you don't want to. I would hate like hell for one of you guys to call me up and say, I want to go on the Alaska cruise, not to do my thing and pull it up and it's sold out. So, Yeah, think about it and let me know. All right. I was also glad to hear last night that not only is Gretchen and Fred thinking about going, they might have one of the kids going too. So that'd be awesome. All right, so let's get on with some news here this morning. That's a terrible picture. That's supposed to be a Carnival ship, and that's an awful picture. So we're not going to use that picture at all. You're just going to have to look at me instead of that fuzzy picture. I didn't realize it was not a regular JPEG that looks right. Anyway, in just over a month since we last featured this story, Carnival Cruise Line has begun reaching out to guests booked on accessible cabins to alert them to mobility scooter policies on board, noting that the assistive vehicles must be stored inside the stateroom. And this is nothing new, folks. It's been like this. I've been using scooters for 10 years now. It's been like this all along. It's just that people are trying to get by without paying attention to the rules. Anyway, the scooters have to be stored in the staterooms and may not be stored in corridors or public areas. While the policy's been in place for some time, enforcement is becoming more stringent, and guests with larger scooters that cannot be accommodated in the booked stateroom will be denied boarding for their cruise. In other words, folks, if you don't have a handicap accessible stateroom, wheelchair accessible stateroom, whatever you want to call it, if you're in a regular size stateroom and you've got a wide-bodied scooter, probably wheelchair as well. I mean, my wheelchair is 26 and a half inches, but then I always get accessible cabins that have the wide doors. But if you're in a regular size cabin door and your scooter is wider, they're not going to let you board, folks. I mean, they'll give you your money back, but you're not going to get on the ship. An email sent to select passengers based on the stateroom they booked. Carnival Cruise Line is bringing greater visibility to its mobility scooter policy and what is required if guests travel with a scooter. For example, for an upcoming sailing aboard Excel Class Mardi Gras, the email outlines options for guests with respect to scooters. This message is being sent only to guests booked into specific staterooms aboard Mardi Gras and is intended only for those traveling with a scooter, the email reads. Some guests will occasionally book larger accessible cabins due to other accessibility needs, wheelchairs, knee scooters, canes, etc., or simply because the rooms are generally more spacious. If I see somebody in an accessible room that doesn't need it, whoa, I'll call them out in a heartbeat, folks. That's as bad as people using wheelchair accessible restrooms when there's a perfectly good regular restroom available. At times, travelers may be unaware that the stateroom they selected is an accessible room. Yeah, that's possible. Stateroom you have secured does not accommodate all types of scooters, the email explained. If you or another guest in your stateroom will be traveling with a scooter, it must collapse for safe storage in the designated area inside the stateroom. It must be collapsible. Guests with scooters are being given several options to use a collapsible scooter that will fit comfortably in the stateroom, to travel without a scooter if they're able to change their ship or sailing date in order to reserve a stateroom that will accommodate the scooter, or to cancel their cruise for a full refund. The email goes on to note several guidelines regarding scooters on board. Scooters cannot be stored in corridors or public areas. Guests must be able to collapse or haul them for storage in a way that allows for safe exit from the stateroom. It should be noted that if multiple guests in the same stateroom use scooters, a fully accessible stateroom with a wider doorway must be booked, or guests will need to rent a smaller scooter. Carnival brand ambassador John Heald also recently addressed the issue of scooters on board, noting that enforcement of both onboard and during cruise check-in is being strictly enforced. Remember, it was John Hill's talking about this that triggered me doing a lead on one of my shows a month ago, or maybe 5 weeks ago, on the same topic. I also did a blog post, as I did today. A special attention will be given to scooter sizes at check-in on embarkation day to ensure they meet the appropriate size measurements for safe storage. Yes, that's stateroom. Scooters that do not fit a guest be unable to make alternate arrangements to rent a smaller scooter or travel without one. Boarding will be denied and a refund issued to the original form of payment. Carnival Cruise Line does not offer an explanation about why the sudden increase in enforcement of the mobility scooter policy, but frequent cruise travelers have noted a dramatic increase in how many scooters are seen on board for all types of sailing. Yeah, because people like me are out there showing people that, just because you have a disability doesn't mean you have to sit at home and feel sorry for yourself. Get out, go. When scooters are parked improperly in corridors or other public spaces, they are blocking potential emergency evacuation routes and can cause difficulty for other travelers to move around the ship. Furthermore, crew members who have to move carts or other equipment may not be able to maneuver around parked scooters. Similarly, other scooter users may not be able to move around any parked mobility scooters. That's been I can't get by with my chair if somebody's left the damn scooter. No details have been given about any potential penalties or repercussions for guests on board who do leave scooters parked in the quarters, nor has there been any delineation of policies on wheelchairs. Personally, I always book an accessible cabin. My chair is 26.5 inches wide, so I have to have a wide door. Now, one of the things that kind of scared me about Carnival getting on this policy is, am I going to roll into check-in on a Carnival ship? Power wheelchair has the same stats as a scooter. Yeah, no, it doesn't. And it's for a different purpose. But I could see somebody that isn't well trained on the area at the conclusion, and probably someone with a chair problems getting on board. Of course, if they have a chair and they didn't book it, so be it. That in a scooter or a chair, by all means, book accessible. Regular stateroom, they're too small. I know I have like when I rent scooters, I'd have like a 1/2 inch clearance. That was awful. So you need to perk up your game, guys. To insult anybody, I'm telling you straight up, I don't disagree with this policy at all. I'm worried about there needs to be I believe, a delineation between scooters and wheelchairs. Still, they can't be parked down in the middle of the hall either. They have to be even outside. You're running the risk of somebody stealing the damn thing. I mean, that's nuts. Then you got to pay multiple. I'll get off my high horse on that one. No. Several more news stories. After a quick break from one of our network sponsors. Okay, the next story today, folks, comes from our friends over at Virgin. Virgin Voyages hopes to lure remote workers with a month-long Scarlet Summer Season Pass. The work-from-home invitation is aimed at digital nomads and home workers looking for a change of scenery. The pass is, in fact, a discounted rate on 4 back-to-back cruises in the Mediterranean aboard the Scarlet Lady. Guests can book consecutive sailings between June and September. 4 date options exist for each month-long voyage: June 9th to July 7th, July 7th to August the 4th, August the 4th to September 1st, September 1st to the 29th. Cruise fares start at $9,990, represents savings of up to 30% compared to booking the 4 voyages independently. The remote worker's most essential tool, fast and reliable Wi-Fi, is already included in Virgin's cruise fares. Cruisers who buy the pass will get upgraded for free to the cruise line's premium Wi-Fi package. Scarlet Lady recently upgraded connectivity with integrated SES Cruise Empowered plus Starlink Pro. It says the offer is up to 1.5 GPS per ship. Speaking of that, there's Elizabeth. I wonder if I can answer this without getting off. Hello. Yeah, I'm on the air. Oh, my audio's bad. Okay. Wow. So that was Elizabeth. Damn it. Why? I'm showing. Now the audio is better. Folks, I have no idea why this is breaking up. None whatsoever. All right, so there's nothing I can do about it in the middle of the show. I've got some new equipment coming in, should be here this afternoon. I'll probably do some testing on that. You know, this has been an ongoing problem here, folks. Here, am I still on the camera? All right, so let me jump over here, folks. Somebody tell me, can you guys hear me now and see me now? Now we can hear you. I was trying to get your attention. Okay, thank you. They need more accessible rooms. Yes, they need more accessible rooms. All right, so I hope everything's somewhat back in order, folks. Anyway, on to finish up with the Scarlet Lady story. If you book the 4 weeks in a row over there in Europe, this is for folks on the other side of the pond. Of course, I guess an American could fly over and do this as well. But if you book that package, you get the premium Wi-Fi, like we said, wash and fold laundry service, early access to book on board dining and shore excursions, access to Rockstar Star support team while on Scarlet Lady, entry to Richard's Rooftop, a chic space featuring daily Moet happy hours, $10 daily coffee credit to use in Grounds Club, welcome bubbles to kick off Sailor's month-long celebration. Also included is cruise fares are all meals, gratuities, basic beverages, and group fitness classes. All right. The next story today, folks. Royal Caribbean's latest 2-day gone sale has last-minute cruises marked down on 11 cruise ships. Royal Caribbean is the world's largest cruise line, and each week they offer a 2-day sale on last-minute cruises. This week's sale includes 11 of their award-winning cruise ships that visit the Caribbean, the Bahamas, Hawaii, and Alaska. The cruises depart between now and early May. 5 Oasis-class ships are included in the sale this week. They're Allure, Harmony, Oasis, Symphony, and Wonder. The problem, folks, on this is that the sale started yesterday. The information didn't come out until after the show yesterday and only runs through midnight tonight. But if you're interested in anything on Royal in the short term, call me. I'll get you hooked up on it, but we've got to do it today. The free cruise ships for this week are Allure, Brilliance, Freedom, Harmony, Independence, Liberty, Oasis, Ovation, Quantum, Symphony, and Wonder. The sale on last-minute Royal Caribbean cruises runs yesterday and today. Prices start at $329 per person. The offer is good on new bookings only. That's a pretty good deal, folks, for Royal. If you're looking for something, call me. I'll hook you right up. All right. As the Red Sea crisis nears its 6-month mark, many cruise lines have already made the difficult decision to cancel sailings and change itineraries for the safety of their guests and crew members. Marella Cruises is the latest cruise line to alter course, with the company notifying guests that all sailings on board Marella Discovery 2 in April of 2024 have now been canceled. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, anybody that's sailing over there, they've canceled cruises. Nobody's going to the Red Sea now. One of the few cruise lines that still permit guests to smoke in their stateroom balconies is ending that practice and likewise changing what areas on board its vessels where guests can smoke or vape. Fred Olsen Cruise Lines has updated the smoking policy on the website, listing where guests will be able to smoke after the new policy takes effect on April the 1st. No information has been given about the change in smoking policy or why guests will no longer be permitted to smoke on their individual stateroom balconies. Many cruise lines have long since prohibited smoking on balconies for a variety of reasons. Not only can one's guest smoking be an unpleasant distraction for non-smoking guests on other nearby balconies, reducing their enjoyment of the space their stateroom offers, but the risk of flicking ash or cigarette butts overboard can lead to the possibility of fire if such items are blown back on the ship. In other smoking news, MSC Cruises has implemented no smoking policies in the casino areas of MSC Virtuosa and MSC Ioribia. The decision to ban smoking on board appears to have stemmed from information shared by passengers on social media platforms, including that the policy came into effect in February. The update has garnered widespread attention. Furthermore, Royal Caribbean's upcoming vessels, Utopia of the Seas, set to debut this summer, is expected to follow suit by prohibiting smoking in its casino area. This move aligns with similar initiatives undertaken by competitors such as Royal Caribbean and Holland America, a luxury brand under Carnival Corporation, which has already established smoke-free environments in the respective casino spaces. MSC has also adopted this practice on some of its older ships. I hate to point this out, folks. You know, I smoked forever. I'll be clean 10 years in June. And that is undoubtedly the foulest thing that I've ever been around. I can't believe what I did to my friends and family for all those years, because for a non-smoker now, it's sickening to be around. Just saying, folks. Not only that, it's unhealthy, but that's neither here nor there. All right. Sea Cloud Cruises Flagship, Sea Cloud Spirit, makes its inaugural inaugural call at Nassau Cruiseport and announced full-masted immersive cruises for 2025. Sea Cloud Cruises, an operator of sailing expeditions, celebrated a milestone as its largest and newest ship, Sea Cloud Spirit, made its first call at Nassau. Sea Cloud Spirit, known for its 3-mast full-rig design, is embarking on a round-trip journey from Nassau, offering immersive Bahamas experience from March the 4th through the 12th. The itinerary includes stops in pristine locales of Extremis and Eleuthera, with 69 cabins housed on the 3-masted Windjammer. Sea Cloud Spirit stands as the pinnacle of Sea Cloud Cruises' fleet. At 452 feet in length and boasting a capacity of 136 passengers, crew of 85. It's the largest vessel among the company's sailing ships. Currently navigating the Caribbean, Sea Cloud Spirit is on course to deliver unique sailing adventures, including its anticipated visits to the Bahamas. So don't be surprised, folks, if you see some masted schooners now when you're going into Nassau and around the Bahamas. I'd love to be on that. I have no idea if it's accessible or not. I haven't gotten that far. It was just in the news stories this morning. So, but I'll look into it. I'll see if there's any accessibility, because I'd love to do that. That would be cool. All right, one last story this morning, folks, and it comes from Alaska. The Seward company recently released plans to design and build a new cruise terminal and pier at the port of Seward in Alaska. According to the company's website, design and construction for the new facility is scheduled to start immediately, with completion expected in the spring of 2026. The Seward company is working with Royal Caribbean Group and Turnagain Marine on the private-public project, which aims to develop a new world-class cruise port in Seward. Designed to welcome the largest ships currently cruising the region, the new facility will replace the current Alaska Railroad cruise port facility. The new facility secures future economic impacts for the Seward community and the state of Alaska, the company said, while also assuring the long-term sustainability of the Alaska Railroad. That ends the news portion of today's show, folks. All right, let's go see who's fussing at me in the chat room, whose people are still with me, or they said the hell with you because your audio's breaking up again. There's Mike. Hi, Mike. Joanne's here. Happy Friday, y'all. There's Gary, older than dirt. Gary, that's Elizabeth. Elizabeth, that's Gary. I told you about him last night. Elizabeth says, greeting old and new from sunny Riviera Maya. Great to be back in the heat since Antarctica. I was missing Chillie and the gang. There's Todd. Good morning, Todd. Dark chocolate peanut clusters are my favorite. I'm with you on that one, Todd. Katie's here. Hi, Katie. I'm actually working on my tan and watching your show at the same time. Very nice. Elizabeth says hi to Katie. Emma's here. Good morning, Chillie and everyone. Katie says hey to Elizabeth. And they're going to have to rent another at the port if they can fit in one from Scootaround. You know what? I was wondering about that. So if you come in and your scooter's too big, and you rent a smaller scooter, what are you going to do with the big scooter? I mean, unless you got a car parked outside. I mean, you just can't leave that in the terminal. So if you've got a big scooter, folks, you got to start thinking ahead on this. You got to plan ahead. If you're wide, if you're 26 and a half, anything less than 27 inches, okay, you're okay in accessible rooms. But if you're not in an accessible room, some of those cabin doors are like 20 inches. So it's going to take some planning, folks. Now, there's nothing wrong if you use a big wide scooter. There's nothing wrong with you flying in or however you get there and using wheelchair service to get onto the ship or to get to where Scooter Round is in the terminal and get your scooter and ride the scooter on that will fit. But that's the way I did it for years. Now that I'm traveling with a chair, I'm also most of my travels are going to be in the car because I've got a rack on the car that I can transport my chair. And I worry anytime I got to fly with the chair because let's face it, the airlines have been known to damage chairs. And thankfully, I've never had that problem, but I know a ton of people that have. So, I drive as whenever I can. Obviously, when I'm going to Alaska, I can't drive. I'll be flying on that one. I flew to New York recently. I had no problems. No problems at all. But it's taking a chance. Katie says, oh no, you're breaking up. Yeah, breaking up. And your lips don't match the words we hear, out of sync. That's got to be something from the internet provider. That can't be my equipment. Alaska cruises are beautiful, but balcony rooms are not cheap. I was talking to some people last night. They priced out Ocean View, which was decent, was reasonable. And they said, well, while you're doing it, price a balcony. The balcony was 3 times the price of an Ocean View. I think they're pricing themselves out of business myself. But I don't know. Emma says, not that this is an excuse for not following the rules, but it sometimes takes 10 minutes to get in the door and 10 minutes to exit. Therefore, they're left in the hallways, maybe automatic doors. Well, if on the lines that have quite often accessible rooms, accessible cabins have automatic doors, or at least key activated doors where you just tap your key and it opens the door. But still, if it's a narrow door, it's still hard to get those scooters in and out of it. It's much better on the accessible cabin doors. Now, mine at 26.5 inches, that's about as wide as, the doors are just slightly wider. So I have a pretty tight squeeze anyway, which is okay. I'm used to that. I'm used to driving it in small places. But yeah, but just don't park them in the hallway, guys. You're going to end up losing them. That's what's going to happen. Elizabeth said, I thought this was just me. I've not been able to hear anything for a while. Audio is getting worse. Started out okay, but now breaking up a lot. The sound is all garbled, and now audio is better, but mobility scooter gods didn't want us to hear Chillie for that one. Oh, that could be too. When are you going on Virgin Voyages? I don't know. The special, this thing that are running, the 4-week deal, that's over in Europe. I haven't been on Virgin yet. I know I need to. I have no idea, Amy. I haven't even looked at that for a while. I've been pretty busy. They need more accessible rooms. Yes, they do, always. Now we can hear you. I was trying to get your attention. We can see Virgin ship. Okay. You are fine now that the Virgin story started. Maybe it was just the scooter round story. I don't know. Okay, can hear you. See the Virgin photo. Ship to Shore is here. Good morning, everybody. How we doing, Chip? How's things up in Vancouver? Elizabeth says it's good now. Katie, audio is much better. Hit the like key, everyone. Thanks, Elizabeth. NCL solo hallway on the Epic. Oh, yeah, boy, that was the solo hallway on the Epic. Gary took me for where the solo lounge was. Now, I was not in one of those areas because I had, my cabin was a different deck and different part of the ship. But Gary took me down that hallway one time. Oh my God. I mean, I literally had about like this much space in the hallway for my chair to go through. It was a tight squeeze. If I could walk down that hallway, I'm not sure my fat body would fit down that hallway. It was so narrow. Maybe. If I went sideways, it would fit. Oh no, sideways is worse. Anyway. I figured Gary'd get a laugh at that one. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up. It won't be for the weekend because I've got some equipment coming in and I'm going to have to test out and see if I've. Okay, so I went to, I'll tell you what happened. One of my errands yesterday was at the computer guy. The name of the business is We Fix Stupid Computers. So, and the business, I know, I mean, I've been there several times before. As long as I can park right at the door, which I did, I've got like 6 steps to he has a chair. So I picked up my oxygen and my computer and walked the 6 steps and sat down until he had a second to get to me. So I told him, what was happening on my 2 USB ports, that one of them didn't work at all for my microphones, my headsets. It was all this breakup and stuff. That was before we went through the whole thing, getting a new tower and all that business with the service provider. Modem, that's what it was, modem. And the other side, the USB, the little thingy, this thing. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go. That little USB thing is for my mouse. Okay. The other side of the computer, the mouse would work, but nothing else would work. So he says, okay. He says, I mean, you can go out and buy a new computer. You know what that's going to cost you. I said, yeah, I know what that's going to cost. He said, instead of doing that, go get a USB-C. Port. I'm thinking USB-C. What the hell is he talking about? The Coast Guard? I don't know what he was talking about. I said, what the hell's a USB-C? He said, well, you've got, this is a USB-A. This thingy. So those 2 holes on both sides of the computer are USB-A ports. He said, but see this hole right here? This little thing gets up closer to the front. I said, yeah, I don't even know what that's for. He said, that's a USB-C. He said, it actually has more power than the USB-A's. So you get one of those multiple things that you can plug in, 4 or 5 USB-A's, which is all my audio stuff is USB-A's. My headsets, the big ass microphone. If I use this as a microphone, if I use anything, I've got all kinds of things that are all USB-A. I'm too stupid to know the difference. He said, so you get a USB plug-in multiport to plug in the other ones, and you're going to have more power on that than you had in the other one, and probably everything's going to work. So when I got home yesterday, I got on Amazon. How did we live without Amazon? I'm not sure I could have. So I ordered one. I found it and I ordered it. And I've already gotten the shipping notice, so it'll probably be here today or tomorrow. And I'll test it out onto my good computer instead of the old computer that I'm using now. And see, maybe if I can get back to having every show being the way it's supposed to be for audio and visual. So, and by the way, he said, say, I don't replace USB-A ports. I said, why's that? He said, because they're attached to the motherboard, whatever that is. And you get in there and try to replace one of those ports and have to replace the whole motherboard. And you might as well go buy a new computer with that cost. So I won't even touch them. I said, well, okay. So I'll spend the $30 or whatever the hell that thing cost me, $25, and try it. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, then I'll go buy a new computer. I don't want to go buy a new computer. I'm too tight. I mean, that's, a couple cruises, for heaven's sakes. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the weekend, folks. Not for the weekend. I'll be on sometime this weekend because I got to test this thing out. So I'll do a live stream about something. It might be doing a live stream about the Alaska cruise again, or the Canadian cruise that I'm going to be doing with Hot Air Tom in September. Some of you might want to go with that too. We might try to get out a little leaflet on that one in case anybody wants to. Now, it's not any bargain. That's a fall New England and Canadian cruise. Those are not cheap. But we're going from Boston to Quebec. Now, Hot Air Tom and I are going to stay on the boat, come back from Quebec back to Boston. Some of you might want to join us. That'd be okay. And then, of course, I got the transatlantics that are going to be starting up in 2025. So I need to get some stuff out on that in case some of you want to join us on those. One of them, you got me and Hot Air Tom and Kenneth, and Robin. So maybe we get a group on that one. So anyway, I might be doing, I don't know. I'll do something live this weekend to see if I got the audio fixed. So what I'm actually saying, folks, is that's it for today. I'll be back whenever I'm back. So, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising. Hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Elizabeth, let me know how long it takes to ride the ferry to wherever you're staying. In case I get the Cozumel and want to try to come find you. Who knows? Also, see if the ferry is accessible. Can I get on the ferry in my chair? If not, then you're going to have to come to Cozumel to see me. All right, guys. Just acting a little silly. That's going to wrap me up for today. As always, y'all have a great weekend. I'll see you sometime this weekend. If not, I'll see you Monday. Don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe, all that business. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you next time.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.